Raider Nation, I can't really be mad anymore about this team. You know, there's so many expectations that we've had, but after the last couple of weeks, the Raiders just look like the same dang team. And I'm kind of tired of just, moping and groping about this team, every single week, but it never seems to change. Obviously, you guys already know the Raiders lost to the LA Rams yesterday. And LA, I don't know what it is, but it seems like we can never win at SoFi Stadium, which is one reason why I didn't even want to go to SoFi Stadium, because I knew somehow, some way the Raiders were going to disappoint me, and they did disappoint me as well as the rest of the Raider Nation. Now, we lost to the Rams 20-15, our third straight loss in a row under this AP regime right now. AP Tom Telesco, man. I don't know, man. I don't know what it's gonna take for the Raiders to, turn things around. But I think I kind of do know what's gonna have to happen. And one of those things has to be firing Luke Getsy, because this offense looks horrible. No matter who we put out there, no matter who's playing on offense, everybody looks horrible. I mean, other than Brock Bowers, but that's besides the fact, because the Raiders are just force feeding them every single play. But for the most part, this Raiders team, straight out, is a bad team. We are a horrible team. We are what everybody thought we were. One of the worst teams in the NFL, a top 5, top 10 pick, maybe the number 1 overall pick in the 2025 draft. But that's not really saying much, knowing that the Raiders can't really do anything in the draft anyways. But nonetheless, watching this game was really, really hard. I mean, every single game this year, almost every single game has been hard to watch. But this game, nonetheless, was really, really hard to watch. AOC obviously starts this game, and we're thinking, okay, things might change, but things really didn't change. AOC didn't really last that long before he got hurt throwing the ball, and he was out for the remainder of this game. And for most people, they were living their worst nightmare, because Gardner Minshew had to finish this game off. And man, the quarterback position, what more can I say? Other than the play calling, the quarterback position has been a big, big weakness for this team. And in this game, it really showed. Aidan wasn't really doing much, but knowing Gardner Minshew, he's a guy that can get things done. But we all know, especially this season, he's been a turnover machine, way more than Jimmy G was for us last season. And I feel like most of that is in due part because of the play calling. This is the worst I've seen Gardner Minshew play in his whole career. He hasn't been an elite quarterback. He hasn't been a top quarterback. I mean, he was a Pro Bowl quarterback last year with the Colts, but he never looked this bad. But the turnovers that we had in this game, my goodness, they just continued. And that's one thing. That's one thing that we all know of Minshew this season with the Raiders, is the fact that he's always going to turn the ball over at crucial points in the game. And in this game, man, he had 3 interceptions, and he had 1 fumble recovery to the house. I mean, he coughed up the ball, and of course we know the Rams were just going to pick it up and score on us, because that's what everybody does against the Raiders, right? But the 3 interceptions was really, really crucial for this team. Now, even with all of that, you look at the score, it was really, really close. We still had a chance to win this game. Our defense wasn't perfect, but they were damn near good enough to help us win this game. But our offense couldn't get shit going. If there was a player for this game, it would be Daniel Carlson, because the way this dude is going out there and just kicking field goal after field goal after field goal for us when we couldn't get anything going, it was just crazy. And when Daniel Carson's out there for a field goal, I mean, it is what it is. 3 points is better than nothing. But when we have so many opportunities to score and we just aren't able to get into the end zone, it's really frustrating to watch, especially when our defense finally was able to create a turnover. We were going down right at their goal line, and we still couldn't score. We had to have Daniel Carlson go out there and kick a field goal for us. Many missed opportunities for this team, which is really frustrating to see. And I know the rest of the Raider Nation feels the same way I do, because it's like anytime we get any momentum, it just gets shot down, and we're just not able to get anything going. The play calling, again, like I said, has been horrible. AP, being the head coach, being the leader of this team, again, needs to make that move pretty soon. I don't care if you go hire somebody off of the street. The way Luke Getsy is running this offense is horrible. And I know it doesn't help when we have mediocre quarterbacks, but shit, if we had a play caller that could go out there and run the right plays in this game. And it's crazy, because the Rams have one of the worst run defenses in the league, yet we shy away from the run game and we start throwing the ball a little bit more, which, I wanted that, but I felt like our run game could have beaten this Rams team. Now, of course, they weren't perfect. Now, I know Alexander Madison had a solid day, 23 for 92. Other than that, there wasn't really much going. And another frustrating play for me in this game was the fact that, kind of looking back at it, hindsight 2020, when we had that little end around, like that sweep play with Trey Tucker, and it looked like he was going to score, but he got tackled near the goal line. But we had Brock Bowers, and I believe it was Colton Miller. I might be wrong, but 2 blockers going for the same defender when there was another defender open to go one-on-one with Trey Tucker. If they could have communicated better, the announcers even said it over the broadcast, if one of those 2 blockers could have handled the other defender, Trey Tucker would have been walking into the end zone. But looking back at it now, like I said, it really hurts because we settled for a field goal when we could have easily gotten a touchdown, and a lot of things could have changed in this game. The Raiders have no offense whatsoever, and it's really making me think, like last year with Josh McDaniels, as bad as he was, our offense looked way better last year than it did this year. Yes, we choked away a lot of games, but we at least had some leads. But this year we're getting blown out by double digits. It's embarrassing, especially when we have a competent, defense that could at least hold games and keep us in games. We're just not able to capitalize on any kind of offensive plays. I know that there's a lot of Raider fans kind of scrambling and going back and forth on who should be the quarterback. Should we tank for a quarterback? But at the end of the day, John Madden said it best. If you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. And the Raiders have been flip-flopping from Gardner Minshew and ALC. Now, ALC was out the rest of this game, and we just found out today that ALC is going to be out for the next 4 to 6 weeks. He was placed on IR due to a fractured thumb. Come on, this. And even more embarrassing is, if anything was to happen to Gardner Minshew in this game, we wouldn't have any backup quarterbacks. Our emergency quarterback would have been Jacoby Myers, but he was out for this game, so we would have relied on McAllister to go out there and do something. That just shows you how thin our quarterback position is and how bad it is. And looking back in the offseason when, a lot of these websites, a lot of these sports analysts were ranking the Raiders at the bottom of starting quarterbacks, it makes a lot more sense now. And I feel like us Raider fans were just blinded by some of the hope that we had going into the season. Yeah, we knew it wasn't any great quarterbacks, but we still had some kind of hope, right? Now, before I go on with the quarterback talk, which we're going to talk about in just a minute, I want to talk about AP's decision-making in the games. For the whole season, you guys know that I've been critical of AP's decisions, here and there, going for it on 4th down, not going for it on 4th down, making timely decisions, calling timeouts, all this, everything going around. There's been a lot of questionable decisions that AP has made throughout the game. And in this game, yet again, I feel like there was a decision that was made that kind of ruined the momentum of the Raiders' offense. Now, I know that our offense wasn't really doing much in this game, but when we had a chance on 4th down in the 4th quarter, down 8, we're down 1 score plus a 2-point conversion in the Rams red zone, we had a decision to make to go for it or kick the field goal. And what does AP do? He ends up kicking the field goal and relying on the defense to get the ball back, which the defense did do that, and our offense let us down at the end of the day. But the reason why I say this, yes, he may have made the right call and we had a chance at the end of the game to make something happen, but the Raiders offense had no momentum, no type of momentum in this game to drive down the field and score any touchdowns. But this specific drive that we had going down the field, Gardner Minshew was starting to make plays. He was starting to get a little high. He was starting to build a little bit of confidence. He even ran a QB sneak for a 1st down. And that chemistry between him and Brock Bowers are starting to heat up throughout this drive. Yes, we got stopped short. And yes, it was 4th down and a lot of things were riding off of it. But I felt like him opting to go for a field goal and bringing Daniel Carlson out there kind of just killed the momentum that we had at that point. And then you're expecting Gardner Minshew in this offense to drive a full football length of the field to go and score a touchdown to win the game. But our offense has been the weak link in this game by this point. So why not go for it when we're in the red zone instead of expecting Gardner Minshew to drive down the field and get something done? It just didn't make sense to me. Maybe I'm nitpicking and, I'm just being a little bit extra, but from what I've seen as a fan watching the game, that was kind of frustrating for me to see. And I'm just like, damn, man, we could have did something. We could have at least scored or given our offense a little bit more chances. And then you depend on the defense to make a stop. And then we go out there, handle business, whatever it may be, and maybe we just need a field goal to win the game. Because I know we could trust Daniel Carlson past the 50-yard line, but Raider Nation, that is just me. Now, some big news just came out right before I was recording this video today. Obviously, we know that ALC was hurt, And we found out earlier today that he was going to be out for a significant amount of time. But the biggest question was, what will the Raiders do at the quarterback position? Because I know we have Carter Bradley, and I highly doubt that they want him to be, the backup quarterback. But I guess the big question was wondering who that QB2 would be. Will the Raiders go out and sign somebody in free agency, or will the Raiders make a move, maybe go and trade for somebody? There was a lot of options that I had in my head. But according to some reports today, the Raiders just signed their backup quarterback, Desmond Ridder. According to Tom Pelissero, he broke the news, tweeting a new quarterback in Las Vegas. The Raiders are signing Desmond Ridder off the Cardinals practice squad per sources. Aidan O'Connell is headed to the injury reserve, and now Ridder, the former Falcons starter, joins Gardner Minshew in the quarterback room. Now, Ridder was a third-round pick in the 2022 draft, has 17 career starts with the Falcons, and was traded to the Cardinals. In his career, he's thrown for 3,544 yards, 14 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. Now, how do I feel about this move? It's whatever. He ain't the answer. I don't see him being the answer for this team, but hey, crazier things have happened. Now, he's a bit of a spark for a lot of Raider fans because at least there's a new face in the room that could possibly go out there and be the starter for the rest of the season. Who knows? Because I don't think we could go the rest of the season with Gardner Minshew, especially with the way he's been looking this season. But Desmond Ridder is a low risk, low reward type of player. I don't see him doing much with this team. I think he's going to get an opportunity to, fight for a starting spot, at least for a game or two, and see what he can do. He's a bit mobile. He's got a little bit of upside. I like Desmond Ridder better than AOC, but then he's coming into a whole new system. He's coming over here, and he's got to learn a lot of things and build a little bit of chemistry. But who knows? Maybe he can do that. Maybe he can learn real quick. Maybe he could turn things around for the Raiders. But at this point, any hope that I have in this team is gone. Is gone. And I don't see a quarterback like Ridder coming in and turning everything around. Shit, if I was the Raiders, I wouldn't mind going out there and trading for a guy like Trey Lance, the backup over there in Dallas. He's a guy that has a lot of, a lot of skill sets that we can use on this offense. We've seen him in the preseason. This dude was balling out, and I feel like would be a low risk for the Raiders, high reward. And it wouldn't even cost the Raiders that much to go out and get him if they wanted to go get another quarterback. I highly doubt that happens, but I know a lot of Raider fans are already saying that the Raiders should just tank the season away and wait for next year, go and draft a quarterback. But AP quickly shot that down in today's press conference.
There's still a lot of football left. The season's not over. We're not tanking. We're not trying to lose games to do anything better for the future. Hell, we're trying to be the best team we can. And right now, we're not a good team.
So there you have it. Coach AP said that we're not going to be tanking. We basically just suck. We ain't winning games. So at the end of the day, it don't really matter. But what are your thoughts about this team? What are your thoughts about this latest move with Desmond Ridder joining the Raiders? How do you feel about the team moving forward? I doubt that any of you guys have any hope, because I barely have any hope, especially we're going into this next game against the Kansas City Chiefs. It ain't going to look good. It ain't going to look good, but you never know. At the end of the day, AFC West rivalry games always end up being surprises. So if we win, shit, we win. If we don't, shit, we're looking for a quarterback next season. But again, with that being said, until the next one, this your boy Some More Raider. I ain't gonna waste any more time. Until the next one, your boys, yeah.